Hello ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well, and in today's video I'll be going over 10 tips that many aspiring independent music artists are not aware of. And if you watch to the end of the video, I have one more bonus tip that I will give you that changed me in my music career. So let's get straight to it. Number one, it's a lot of trial and error. So what a lot of music producers do is that they just play by ear and only go by what they think sounds right. Mistakes are a part of the creative process. So each time when something doesn't work, you'll gain valuable insight and just move on from there. So when looking at an FL Studio project that I made, you could see that I have audio wave file that I used, and it's making my track somewhat bothersome to my taste. And so what I do in this track is that instead I need something else for this to make it better, such as vocals. So I took it out and put some vocals and found out that it sounds much more better this way than before.
I never saw it coming. I couldn't read the signs. I don't know why I let you in this time. I must be blind.
Sometimes those errors can just turn out to be happy accidents and lead you to exciting ideas or sounds. Second thing that music artists should know is that perfection does not exist. So within the music business, there is no perfect song, let alone it's impossible to make one. Music is all about the vision, and you as the artist can only determine what's the best for the song. You can spend countless hours doing little tweaks, but at some point, you're going to need to learn how to let go. So as I'm working on this project, there was a lot of effects that I was putting on for the ad-libs of the song, and I realized that it was ruining the voice itself, and so I just resetted the whole track and kept it with how it was. Imperfections is what makes your work more human and authentic, which is what many listeners want to hear in a song. What many artists struggle with is finding their sound, and they have to be aware that finding their sound takes time. Developing a unique or exciting sound doesn't happen overnight. Over time, you're bound to hear multiple songs and you're going to be inspired by them, no doubt. And with that inspiration, it causes your preferences to evolve. And as your preferences evolve, you'll be able to find your sound naturally. For example, a case study on Flume's sound evolution. If you guys don't know, Flume is an Australian electronic music producer, and he didn't find his unique sound overnight. He started with conventional house and electronic tracks that followed popular trends but lacked a distinct identity. It wasn't until years of experimentation and growth that he developed his signature style. His breakthrough came with his 2012 debut album, where tracks like Sleepless and Holding On showcase a blend of unconventional rhythms and complex textures. But even after that success, he continued to evolve, pushing boundaries with his 2016 album Skin, which actually won a Grammy. Flume's journey shows that finding your sound takes time, and it's a process of trial and error, continuous learning, and letting your style develop naturally. And another thing is that feedback can help you also create that sound. But a crucial thing to remember as an artist is that not all feedbacks are valuable. The reason I say that is because everyone has an opinion and different tastes in music. So not every feedback you'll hear is what's going to support your vision in your songs. And while receiving input from others can be valuable, not every piece of feedback will benefit your creative process. And when you get too much feedback, especially from those that are overly critical, it can make you second guess yourself and dampen your creative energy, which is what you need in music. And another thing that many artists seem to miss is that less can be more. What I mean by this is that overcomplicating or adding too much to your composition can be overwhelming to the listener. For a song to do good, it doesn't need to be complex or impactful so it can stick with the listener. After all you would need is just a catchy melody to get your listeners hooked. For example, Michael Jackson's Billie Jean, this track is a perfect demonstration of how less can truly be more in music production. The song is built around a simple repeating bass line that drives the entire track. It's minimal but incredibly powerful. Instead of layering tons of instruments, the production focuses on just a few key elements: the bass, the drums, and Michael's vocals. This simplicity is what makes Billie Jean so memorable and effective. It's important to let your song breathe and be able to express the mood and emotion that you want from the song. For music producers, it's completely okay to use presets. Presets are pretty much the foundations of your song. It's a great way to understand sound design as you experiment with those presets. Presets can become a foundation, a starting point for customization. And it's also important to know that presets are crafted by professionals, and using those can make your songs sound more polished. So as you guys can see, I made a quick chord progression and used a preset that I got from Splice, and I'm going to show you how I manipulated it. So what I did is I adjusted the envelope so that it can decay a little later and still create that sustaining sound, and change a little bit of the cutoff so it can play a little louder. And then I use the LFO to play around with the wavetable position of oscillator A, and that is just to create a little movement within the sound. And then I also used LFO3 to adjust the semitones of oscillator A so it can create that little rhythmic movement or tone to it. And then as a final touch, I messed around a little bit with the fill cutoff to see what I liked in the end and transposed the chord progression down by 1 semitone. But do not mix up presets with samples, since samples can have copyright protection and can, make your song unoriginal. Another thing that's very important for music producers is that reference tracks are invaluable. What I mean is that when you analyze that well-crafted song that inspires you, it gives you insights to what you need to make your track engaging from the start to beginning. It provides a target for the overall loudness, punch, and clarity. So with the chord progression, I was using Blinding Lights as a reference track to hear how loud and how the bass and the pads should sound all together with the original chords, and in general helping me to make better mixing decisions. Reference tracks are amazing to use as a guide for how you should mix your songs. And for music artists, this is a no-brainer, but networking matters, and I mean a lot. Many opportunities from collaborations to gigs and placements come from who you know, not from what you make. When having connections with the right people, it'll allow you to play your song to a larger audience. Having the relationships with the right people can allow you to be exposed to a larger audience for you to show off your music. Being connected to the music community, it exposes you to new ideas, trends, and techniques that you can use when crafting your own songs. No matter how passionate or talented you are, you will hit creative blocks. There will be a lot of times where ideas doesn't flow as easily, and this is completely normal. One way that you can push through creative blocks is by experimenting with new genres, new instruments, and just new sounds. And when you're at a creative block and you're being hard on yourself, it's gonna make that creative block harder to get out of. Practicing patience and self-kindness will ease that pressure and allow your creative thoughts to come back naturally to you. And finally, do not set high expectations. Now, many music artists dream of being like one of the best music artists and make a lot of money, perform live on concerts, and have the best success that they can imagine. But placing too much pressure on yourself on that goal is counterproductive. It's important to realize that music or any other creative field is a long-term process. And by lowering that pressure on yourself, it allows you to enjoy the journey and be as passionate as you want with it. And since you guys have stayed till the end of the video, I owe you a bonus tip. And that is to write your song as a story. And what I mean by this is approach songwriting with a narrative mindset. Crafting your tracks or lyrics with a narrative arc such as the rising action, climax, and resolution, it gives your song a sense of progression. It makes the song feel like an evolving experience for the listener to reflect on rather than just some repetitive loop that they can get bored really quickly. Story-based song draws the listeners because it's something that they can reflect back on. And when you make your song story compelling, you'll see that your song will add more depth and meaning to it. And that's all I have for today, guys. And if you guys did enjoy this video, then please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so it can help the YouTube algorithm find other music artists like us. And in the description of this video, there is a Discord server invite link where it is a community of musicians willing to work and join together. And so I hope to see you guys there. And as always, I hope you guys can push through your journey as a musician, and I hope to see you guys next time. Take care.